Hello and welcome to my channel. As you saw, we recently tried to release a raid farm. It didn't work all that well. So we decided that we are just gonna release it in bits and pieces. Step number one is this thing right in front of me. It's the killing chamber of the raid farm. It's basically the most important thing. It connects all the other three pieces of the raid farm. It connects to the nether side to collect the items. It blows up the pillagers that spawn using the TNT from the TNT chamber. And the raid shifter that's down below the farm. Oh, what was that? Down below the farm shifts the raid right in the center here. Right here, the person that's zooming around non-stop is basically someone who did half of the work of this raid farm. From what it feels like, he's gonna help me make this video. Why don't you say hi?
Hey guys.
He sounds perpetually tired, but that's normal, trust me. So anyways, let's talk about this thing. Okay, we have a mini version of the killing chamber. Mobs spawn on top of the snow. They fall down into this shifting floor setup where they get aligned, pre-damaged, and then they all together fall into the nether portal right here. They are in the nether portal for one tick. During that one tick, they get blown up by a TNT from the side and drop their items straight into the nether portal. The top part was made by Jezzers, so you can explain that.
So when we get the raid mobs, we have obviously all the typical raid mobs that can fall through the chamber, but we also have ravagers, which obviously are too big to go through that system, and so we have to have a separate exit for them to get rid of them. And so since the hitbox of the ravager is large enough such that when they spawn, they're already in the walls of the walls of the drop chute, they'll move and be drawn away by the water into the portal. Obviously, sometimes the Ravagers also have mobs that they can be mounted with, and these mobs would typically prevent them from going through the portal, as they would count as a passenger of the entity. And to combat that, we dismount the mobs so that the Ravager can go through the portal. And to dismount them, we use a waterlogged slab that is positioned such that it would be right where the head of the passenger mob is, which would cause them to dismount and then be processed as usual with the rest of the mobs.
Okay, so we have a little demonstration for you as well. Rohiem, do you want to be our explanation?
Would love to.
All right, just stand there and let yourself fall down. Don't go into survival though, you'll die. Okay, he should get shifted down, which he doesn't because of course players don't work as they should. He falls into the portal, and while he's in the portal, just go down a little. He gets blown up by... Okay, that's funny. He gets blown up by TNT and all of its drops are obviously collected. Alright. This is the very first idea we had for the killing chamber. The mobs would just spawn on the snow, get damaged by the TNT first, fall onto the ground and just die from fall damage. However, there is some obvious issues with it. Jezzers, if you could explain the setup with the fences.
So, originally, we didn't even have the fences and the nether portals, and we were going to deal with all the items and stuff within the single dimension that the farm would be in, but obviously that had way too high of item and experience lifetime and caused immense lag. And then when we shifted to the idea of the fence gates and the nether portals, of which they would die, and then the items going into the nether portals, the issue being there is then that we discovered that damage tagging with the TNT, although producing a player kill, does not actually produce the looting effect.
And in
Nick could
addition to
probably
that,
explain the code.
it also doesn't cause the bad omen effect to the player, so the raid loop wouldn't keep going. Once again, the biggest issue with upscaling CCS raid farm isn't that it isn't possible, it's actually lag. To reduce lag as much as possible, one of the choices we made is TNT looting. The advantages of TNT looting are obvious, as you can see, and Jezzers is going to explain them.
The reason that we had to choose TNT looting over player looting is that TNT looting allows us to kill a greater quantity of mobs over a larger spread area compared to sweeping, which requires you to cram a very large amount of mobs into a very small space.
You also can sweep less often. A player can at most hit once every 11 game ticks. With TNT looting, we currently are at an 8 GT clock, which means we trigger TNT once every 8 game ticks. This is hopper speed TNT consumption, which some would consider expensive, but yeah, as Rohiem says, 9k TNT per hour. This obviously allows us to spread the pillages further out and decrease entity lag and loss due to entity cramming. Without this, the farm probably wouldn't be possible at the speeds it's running at. Lastly, we have some bonus features in the farm. Mainly, these black glass stained panes are moved on top of the snow when the farm turns off. That invalidates the snow as a raid spawning space and immediately cancels all incoming raids, and the farm turns off quickly. With some of the farms out there, it's really annoying how long the farm keeps going even after you turn it off, and so I wanted to make sure it turns off quickly after you turn it off. The other benefit this brought is that we added some beacon beams through the center to make sure that everybody knows not to place blocks there and that you are actually kind of capable of seeing the spaces that you shouldn't place blocks in. And it also shows if the farm is on or off, because if the farm is on, the beacon would brighten up. Also, you might have noticed that we have two beautiful Vex Suppressors right here. We actually need those. What we figured out while we were running the farm is that the evokers actually trigger their revenge goal selector in their AI and will actually target the players down there with their Vexes if we do not suppress the Vexes. To showcase that effect, I'm just going to kill all the Vexes in the Vex Suppressor and then see how the Vexes spawn. Alright, that should be it. Vexes should now be able to fly down there. Any second now. Any second. Any second now. Yeah. I must have missed them because my render distance is too low. But yeah, essentially the player gets killed.
Alright, it's time for the bye.
Alright, that's actually it from us for this video. So goodbye and have fun from EndTech.
Bye guys.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bing bong.